What's this thing called? I'm just saying, what type of world would we live in when a drone could walk your dog? It's time for coffee talk. Today I have something I've been wanting to try out for a while. It is the Foxeer Falkor 2 micro-sized camera. And I'm trying it on the Eachine Diatone ER349, which I still call one of the best quads you can buy in the 3-inch category. 110 miles per hour, it's awesome. Another great thing about it, it's very easy to flip out cameras. So if you want to try out new cameras, this is a great quad to try them on. I like Foxeer a lot. They actually send remotes with theirs, and they're similarly priced to Runcam, but they actually send the remote and a bunch of screws and a bunch of standoffs and pretty much everything you need to know to get this thing going, they send it. And I'm just going to fly it on stock settings, and I'm going to give you a hint. I'm going to give you a preview. I love it. Period. That's it. I consider it better than the Micro Swift, which I also liked. I liked it a lot. Or the Micro Swift 2, I like that one too. But this one, it's a wide dynamic range and I love it. So heck, why y'all looking at me? Let's go fly. So I want to start off by saying this is a wide dynamic range camera. So if you look in the shadowy area right now on the left by the bush, you can tell where it does the little gray transition like the Foxeer Predator. The difference, however, is that this camera retains all color information whenever it's washed out or not. And it's 1200 TV lines, which is amazing and incredibly sharp. And if you notice, I'm flying looking directly in the sun, and check the detail in the shadows. You lose none, and it's amazing. And you keep the colors, and I was blown away. This is actually the first camera I've seen that made me look at the Predator a lot differently, because I do love the Predator, and it's a nano size, so it's that 14mm mount, while this is a 19mm, and it comes with a bracket to go up to 29mm. So anyway, it only weighs 1 gram more than the nano size cameras, so it comes in at 5.5 grams instead of 4.5, which is what the nanos come in as. And for my money, this is amazing to me. And I know everyone's talking about DJI and how great the DJI system is, and I will never dispute that the DJI system is totally wonderful, but this camera flying right now on 25 milliwatts with that EV800DM goggles is fantastic to me. I mean, it's just great. I get like a tiny bit of breakup every now and then, but the camera picture is wonderful and I love it, and it's great. And it even works really well in the dark, which I have another flight that was closer to sundown, and it's just as clear, vibrant, bright, and it's easy to see, and I simply love it. The other thing I wanted to tell you is this is recorded on that EV800DM DVR, and the more I use it, the more I really like how that DVR works. It's really good. And the goggles themselves, I just really like them. I have a little bit of a breakdown video on those goggles coming up, but since this is on the camera, I was just wanting to go over. Obviously, lag is not even close to being an issue. It's supposed to be a 4 millisecond lag camera, which is one of the super high, low latency cameras. And it's 1200 TV lines, so you can see branches and you can see a lot of detail that you normally would not be able to see in your standard, like a Micro Swift, Runcam Swift camera. And honestly, it's the first one I've seen that I can stare into the sun and still get shadow detail and still get color detail and not have a single issue at all just flying it. It's fantastic. Yeah, you know, I want to do a review where I'm like, look at the stuff and make your own decision, but I tend to get a little bit hypey and excited because I know everyone's switching to digital. I know it. But you can't put digital on a 2-inch or a 2.5-inch, and you can put this on a 2.5-inch and have a great experience. A great experience. I mean, it's 5.5 grams in a tiny package, and it's just a great camera. And I'm trying to stick with the camera here, but I wanted to say, if you're still running Betaflight 351, on these Diatone GTR 349s. Since they're really overpowered, sometimes I know people had trouble with 4.0, Betaflight 4.0, and I'm not saying I'm nervous about 4.1, but I did do EmuFlight on one of my 349s, and it was so much better. And it was out of the gate just a little bit, okay, a lot better in terms of handling. So if you're still on, like this one's on 351 because it flies really well on it for the most part, unless you get a heavier battery and you'll get a lot more prop wash. This is with one of my lighter batteries, thankfully, so it's not nearly as bad. And anyway, I was just wanting to give a shout out to EmuFlight there if you're having problems with any of the Betaflight versions. Now 4.1 is better for micros from what I've seen, and just the little bit of experience I have with it. It's just that I know the diatones are sometimes a little jittery with the 4.0 the 4.0 filtering. Anyway, back to the camera. This is at a little bit of a darker time, and actually a much darker time. You might see the lights coming on here in a little bit, but the camera itself still pops out great colors, great resolution. I had no trouble at all seeing, which was kind of shocking because I've tried flying this with the Runcam Micro Swift, and I think it's just since the Micro Swift isn't a wide dynamic range camera, it works great in highlight, not so great in mixed lighting. This one just works great, period. And yeah, I think I'm smitten, I gotta say. So I want to say, just watch the video, draw your own conclusions. Don't listen to my hype. Who am I to say? There are so many people switching to digital right now, and I honestly don't blame them. But if you're one who's sticking with the smaller quads and looking for good cameras and good FPV experiences, the Falkor 2 Micro is fantastic, in my humble opinion, of course. However, I'm sticking with it, and yeah, I'm going to put it just above the Foxeer Predator and way above the Runcam Swift, which was my former favorite camera. Runcam makes great cameras. I'm never ever going to disparage them. And honestly, for the extra $10, I think the Falkor is worth it. Now, I'm sure Runcam has an option against this type of camera as well. I haven't really looked at the Runcam line in a little bit, but if they have a wide dynamic range one with a high TV line count and low latency, then it's probably going to be good as well. Just remember that Foxeer at least gives you a remote control with theirs, which is something Runcam doesn't. So if you want to change the settings on a Runcam, you will have to have your own remote. That's not a big deal for those of us who've been around for a while, but I know whenever I was buying my first cameras, I was so excited to get one that had adjustable controls, and didn't realize that you had to actually, have your own remote, and that was depressing. So anyway, it's probably a $2 remote. I think that's what they sell for. So just remember that when comparing prices, that Runcam skimps you on the remote, but they still give you a great experience. Foxeer doesn't skimp on the remote, and their experience is just as good, if not better, in terms of image quality. Caddx, I'm going with Kebab. I like what they do. I like their price range. I like their specs, and sometimes it's like their delivery just isn't quite as good and not quite as polished as the Runcam and Foxeer line. So yeah, in terms of quality, I'm going to put Runcam and Foxeer at about the same. Caddx being one of the cheaper alternatives that is cheaper, not just less expensive. As far as Foxeer goes, they're just good. So are Runcam. So I have zero qualms about recommending this Falkor Micro 2. It's really good. I also have a full-size one that I'm trying to get lined up for my 5-inch quad. I have it in stock, or not in stock, but it came the other day, And I can say it is heavy. It's about 10.5 grams, the full-size Falkor, because it has a monster lens on the front. So I can't wait to show that one off in a little bit. But that's going to wrap it up. Don't forget to give me a like, subscribe, thumbs up. Let me know what you think about this. If you like this type of review, or kind of a chatty review, let me know. And if you want to see more tech specs or something, let me know if you prefer that. I'm just trying to just revamp my channel and trying not to kill myself off. But anyway, thanks again. Let me know. Love to hear your feedback. Y'all have a good one.